All right. Hey, everybody. I'm sorry I'm running late. We had some technical glitches as usual, but thanks for hanging out in the lion's den, waiting. This is the weekly roar. Hey, thanks for joining us today. This is the third week in the growth series, and I have a very, very special guest here to discuss the law of consistency. But before we get into today's discussion, I'm Greg Storch. I am the founder of Lion Enterprise, a leadership development and coaching company. I am a certified speaker, coach, and trainer with the John Maxwell team and a certified professional coach. So today I've asked my good friend, fellow coach, leader extraordinaire, Misael Diaz, to join me. And Misael is the founder of Advanced Leadership Consulting. He's out of Texas. That's a company that's dedicated to helping individuals and businesses achieve their personal and business growth goals. Misael is also an international speaker and trainer who is teaching large and small groups how to reach their potential and transform their lives. But wait, there's more. In his spare time, Misael is actually an executive director and a member of the President's Advisory Council with the John Maxwell team. Misael, thank you so much for hopping on with me today.
Hey, Greg, man, I'm really honored and happy to be here with you, my friend. So looking forward to.
Thank you so much. So today, Misael has agreed to come on here and have a chat about this third law we want to talk about in our personal growth, and that's the law of consistency. Motivation will get you going, but it's the discipline that'll keep you growing. Now, I like to describe this law sort of like motivation being like a spark plug in a car. See, motivation, that's what ignites the spark in you. Have you ever attended like a seminar, a motivational seminar, maybe like Tony Robbins or John Maxwell, Zig Ziglar, Mel Robbins, you know, all the big names, right? And you leave there feeling all energized, your life has changed, only a month later to find yourself standing in the same exact place. That's the spark plug, man. It gets you going, but it takes action, developing the habits necessary after ignition that makes the difference. Being consistent is what will keep the car running once the spark plug has done its job.
Yeah.
So, right, Misael?
Awesome.
Misael's laughing.
I'm enjoying it, man. I want to start taking notes.
So, listen, last week, Misael, I'm not sure if you caught it, but last week we discussed the importance of awareness. We did the law of awareness with our fellow leader and coach, John Wayne Mullins. And this week, of course, I have you joining me to talk about consistency.
Yes.
And so when it comes to your personal growth, if you want to grow, you have to be consistent.
Yes.
And nobody knows that better than you do. So let's start this discussion for these folks that have jumped on here with us. Misael, before we get into the real discussion about consistency, why don't you share a little bit with our audience about your own growth journey? Because I know you live, eat, speak, and breathe this book.
Yes.
You are a master with this content. So talk to us a little bit about your journey, your growth journey.
Well, my growth journey, it's long. It spans from my childhood. The only thing is that I did not know that, Greg. I've been in a process of growth personally or through challenges and different situations. But my growth journey starts, we can look at it from my teenage years, right? When I become basically, I stay alone in the Dominican Republic, and I have to make a decision. Do I follow my peers, or do I become consistent and do completely opposite to what everybody was doing and focus on school and get to graduate from high school and all of that? So throughout the years, I've been making decisions that at the time, they do not make sense. But now today, I can tell you I was just living through the law of consistency, because I've seen a lot of my friends start something to then drop it off tomorrow, or to say, I am going to do something by X day, to then drop it off or never do it, right? Because in the moment, in the excitement, the moment of the excitement, okay, yes, I'm going to do it. But then once the event is over, there is no commitment to the process. And as a result, there is no transformation. So my growth journey, I can summarize it to this. My growth journey has been a sequence of events followed by a process. At the events, I was challenged to make decisions, and consistently within the process, I am experiencing transformation.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you make a lot of valid points that this growth is a journey, and you're taking these actions along the way, but it really is a journey where we really don't arrive at a destination, because this is a lifelong pursuit, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to ask you to share a story, because you've told this story before. I've heard it before, and every time I hear it, I just get engrossed in this story, and it's part of your growth journey, and it's the story you tell about when you were a young man going to school. You were still in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
And talk to us about the clothes and the shoes, and your unwavering desire to attend school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I said, my parents divorced when I was very young age, and we'd have very little, to put it nicely. Okay, to say it in a nice way, we were poor, right? We were very poor,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a time in which I had to borrow shoes from my friends in order for me to go to school, because not even shoes. I did not have shoes that were good enough for me to go to school. So what I would do, Greg, is that in the Dominican Republic, you go to school either in the morning or in the afternoon. And let's say you and I friends, right? We both same age, same grade. What I will do is that I would wait. My mom would wait, right, for you to register, and we will see. Okay, he's gonna go to school in the afternoon, so I would intentionally, right, apply the law of intentionality there, right? Intentionally register in the morning, so I could then be in opposite schedule and have a chance to ask you for things, borrow your shoes or your sneakers and things like that. And I would consistently, that went on for several years, and we were able to overcome that. But that's a true part of my story. I would borrow my friends' shoes.
Yeah. That's amazing. And it's just a story and a message of perseverance, desire, and not letting things, it's that inner voice, the message you're sending yourself, and you weren't making excuses. You could have easily said, I can't go to school because I don't have shoes.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
But you didn't think that way. Your mindset was, I want to go to school, so I need to find a way to get shoes.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I have all the reasons in the world to quit today or that time. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. My parents were divorced. I grew up with a single parent. We were poor. I didn't have shoes. Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for opening up and sharing. That's very personal stuff, and I love it because it really defines who you are. It defines your journey, your path, not who you are.
Yeah.
So
You know,
thanks.
and it speaks of who I am, because I would tell you this, Greg, and sorry for interrupting you there. I would not change it. You see, that helped me value the things I have today, and it helps me value other people also. Now I can relate. I can look back and relate. And we're not going to get into that, but my philosophy of life is never forget where you come from, because if you do, you do not deserve where you're going, right? So that's my life philosophy. Never forget where you come from. Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know what? For our viewers, I'm just going to stop and deviate from our chat, because what Misael just shared with us is a huge golden nugget about personal growth. What he's telling us is he looked back on his trials and tribulations from the past, took lessons from them to help him in his personal growth journey, to the point where he turned a negative into a positive. He took those challenges to be able to see the value in what he has now and the people around him now. That is tons. That's worth the price of admission.
Absolutely.
All right.
A virtual coffee cup for everybody.
Okay, Misael, let's talk about this law of consistency. If you were chatting with somebody in a coffee shop, yes, and you're like, hey man, this book is awesome, I'm reading this chapter on the law of consistency, and they're like, well, what's that all about? What would you tell them? How would you describe it?
So consistency speaks of your commitment. Long-term, short-term, is what are you committed to? Right. It speaks of your vision. Right. And I will tell this person, and now for you that know this book well, or those of you that are reading this book, I added, with the permission of John Maxwell, excuse me, I have added a trap to the book that is not in the book. Okay. It's not in the book. It's an additional bonus coming from Misael. I call it the deposit trap. Okay, the deposit trap. What is the deposit trap? The deposit trap is when you and I are trying to live from what we learned or what we consumed yesterday. Okay, so very quickly, imagine your body, right? Your body needs a daily a number of nutrients. You need fat, you need salt, you need water, you need a certain amount of food in order for you to survive on a daily basis. That's why we eat on a regular basis. If for some reason you are in the military, or you go on a fasting, or you go on a diet, your body will consume of the deposit that you will use of the deposit that you consumed yesterday, right? And that can go for some time. Now, if you prolong that for a very, very long time, eventually you are still alive, but the body's eating itself, it's consuming itself internally, right?
Correct.
And what's going to happen is that soon the body will begin to shut down or vitals that are not as important, right? So to keep the lungs, the heart, and the brain going. So but your movements will become weaker, you will become more slower, you're going to be tired, and those type of things. So the law of consistency is that. The deposit trap is that if you try to live of what you ate or what you consume, the books that you read yesterday, the conference that you went a year ago, the training that you took 2 years ago, the people that you met 3 years ago, if you rely on that, you are still alive, but you're dying. Your influence is going away. Your impact is going away. The change that you can bring to the people is going away, because you're trying to live of your deposits and you're not adding consistently for you to continue to live. Are you moving? Yes, but you're not growing. Are you still around? Yes, but you're not growing. So that's what I will tell that person at a coffee shop. I'm saying the same way you need to drink coffee every single day to awake, You need to grow yourself every single day consistently. Otherwise, you are dying and you don't know it.
Yes, because you know what they say: if you're not growing, you're dying.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That was a great summary. So beautiful. Thanks. So let's get back to Misael and talk about how the law of consistency has impacted you personally.
Oh, a lot, Greg. And let me illustrate it this way. Let me put it to you this way, and go back to my teenager, to my teenage years and learning. Growing up after my parents' divorce, I worked during the day and went to school at night. So my high school education is the equivalent of a GED in the United States. Okay, so I never went to high school in the U.S. When I came to the U.S., I went straight to college, and that's a whole nother story. But I went to school at night, and I was a caddy at a golf course during the day, and I was trying to learn English, and I spent 4 or 5 days caddying for a group of guys from Quebec, Canada. And these guys at the time, they were probably early 30s, late 20s. And they were hanging around, big cigars, drinking whiskey, beer at a golf course. And they were just joking around. And every time they did something wrong, they would say, oh, you need a shot of Cialis. Cialis, like the erectile dysfunction medicine.
Yes.
And all they will say is Cialis, Cialis. Their joke was Cialis, Cialis. For 5 days, 4 or 5 days, I was just listening to that word. I heard that word. And every time they said it, it was a joke. I did not know what Cialis meant. Fast forward a week later, this is 100% true, not made up. I'm caddying for a 64-year-old lady. Her name is Patricia Mates. Okay. She's still alive. She's in New York. I visited her about a year ago. Her name is Patricia Mates. She was 64 at the time. And at the 14th tee, she completely yanks the ball, goes into the water, and guess what? The first thing that came out of my mouth, you need a shot of Cialis. So basically, I recommended Viagra to a 64-year-old lady. Okay, that's the story. What's the point of consistency? What is the point of consistency? I never quit. I was embarrassed to say the wrong thing. I said a lot of wrong things as I was learning English. But today, I think I do a very good job. I think I have a very good vocabulary. But guess what? It wasn't always that way. And that's what consistency does for you. It's not what you can do in one day. It's what you can do for a long period of time. It is better to do a little every day and not a lot someday, because someday is not in your calendar. You cannot do anything someday. And a lot of us, Greg, we live in someday. So for me, I don't live in someday. I try to make a little bit of progress every single day. Big or small, doesn't matter, every single day. So it's better to be embarrassed and grow than never be embarrassed and be stuck.
Oh, I love it. What a great story to share with us. And you're absolutely right, because some people never move forward. They stay stuck because if they can't do the big thing all at once, they don't do anything at all.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. It's go big or go home.
Or go home. Absolutely.
And 99% of them go home.
Unfortunately.
Yes. So, okay. So I want to stay within time. We got started a little late, so I'm going to extend over 5 minutes. So we have about 10 minutes left. So I want to make sure I get as much information for the audience as we can. And I want to, if you could talk to people, if somebody's watching this right now and they're like, you know what, I really need to become more consistent. Yeah. What would you tell them? How can they start?
Yeah. So first of all, we are in a new year. So let me just go something that people would say, what are you saying? But forget your resolution. Break your resolution today. Break it. Get rid of it. Throw it. If it's on paper, put it in the trash. Forget about your resolution. Okay? Here's what I would like you to do. Do not make a 1-year resolution. Do not make a year-long resolution, ever. If you made it this year, forget about it now. What I would like you to do is make a 1-day resolution. Make a resolution for today. What will you accomplish today? What will you do today? Before you go to bed today, what will you done? What will you have done? How much better will you be tonight than you were this morning? That's what I would like you to ask. And here's the thing, but do it for today. And when tomorrow becomes today, do it for today again. Okay? So when today's Wednesday, when Thursday becomes your today, do it for today. When Friday becomes your today, do it for today. But do a 1-day resolution, 1 day at the time. Okay? 1 day becomes a week becomes a month becomes a year, and a year becomes a lifetime. Here's my recommendation to you, practical thing. Use your cell phone. Okay? Take your cell phone out and put an alarm for every single thing that you want to do at the time that you want to get it done. So if you want to go to the gym at 6 o'clock, you have an alarm that will say gym at 6 o'clock. You want to read at 8 o'clock, you're going to have an alarm that says read at 8 o'clock. You want to make phone calls at 9, 10, you're going to have alarms for every single, so your phone will be going off 10, 15, 20 times during the day. It doesn't matter. But you're going to have alarms that will be going off every single time during the day. And you're going to program those either very, very early in the morning, or you're going to do it the night before. Meaning that you're going to do what Gene Brum recommended. Do not ever begin your day until it's finished. Do not ever begin your day until it's finished. Okay? What does that mean? That means that you're going to finish your day on your cell phone, on your calendar, before you get it going, before you get it started. But do not make a year-long resolution and use your cell phone as your reminder throughout the day. That's how you live the law of consistency. Okay? That will be my advice for people, Greg.
I love it. That's awesome. You are totally flipping the script on people, man. People are like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm 23 days into the new year, man. I've never been this consistent.
Throw it away. Forget about resolutions.
Yeah. So, hey, I love that, because one of the things that comes out of this chapter is this quote: you're never going to change your life until you change something you do daily.
Exactly. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's that one step.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Oh,
no. Okay. So yeah, I love I'm sorry, I was giving space, but no, here's the thing. We want to change a lot, right? Mm-hmm. We want to change a lot. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. We say, okay, I need to change my life. I need to change my life. Okay, let's look at your habits. What habit can you change today? If you want to change your life, change your habits, right? It's like we all have dreams. You have dreams, but are your dreams and your habits aligned? Because if your dreams and your habits are not aligned, you either have to change the dream or change the habits, because if they're not aligned, you're not going to accomplish. So it is one single thing every day. Remember, consistency is not about perfection. It's about progression. Okay? Consistency is not about perfection. It's about progression. And the only way that you can make progression is when you take it one step at the time. If you take it one step at a time, that's all you need. That's all you need. So we talk about, one step is how you begin a 1 mile race, right? But
yes,
the second step is what helps you to accomplish it. Because you can begin, you can begin the 1 mile. Okay, I started a 1 mile, right? I started the 1 mile race. Now what? Take the second step, right? Because it's taking those second steps that will help you accomplish it. a lot of people begin the 100-mile race. Many people begin. How many people finished it? That's the question. All right, because many of us, very few take the second.
Yeah, one of our viewers, I'm sorry I didn't capture your name here, but they're saying the same thing. You know, far too many people want to take the elevator to the top. They want the quick path. They aren't willing to do the work it takes. But they're saying take the stairs step by step in small pieces. I love that. Thanks for posting that. Okay, Misael, the last real question to prompt some discussion here, I wanted to talk to you about, you know, as it relates to goals and growth. So you can be goal conscious or you can be growth conscious. A lot of people are in this mindset of I've got to set goals and I've got to achieve goals. What's the difference between people who are growth conscious and people who are goal conscious?
So I put it this way. I was in New York. I have a friend. He's very well off. His parents have an apartment on Central Park South in one of the Trump building. You know, he's on one of the high floors, and you can see Central Park and everything. And we were talking, and we were in New York, and we were having a conversation. And you know, one of the people in the room was saying, "Oh, I seen so many Rolls Royces here in New York. I would like to get a Rolls Royce. I want to get a Rolls Royce." And I asked him, I said, "So what do you want a Rolls Royce for?" I says, "Oh man, I'm gonna drive around and all of that." And I said, "You know what? I would like to have a Rolls Royce, but when I have a Rolls Royce, I want to have enough money to pay somebody to drive me around, because I don't want to have the Rolls Royce and have to drive it myself. I want to have a chauffeur." And that's the thing. You know, he was focused on that goal, and that's what happens with a lot of us. We focus on the degree, we focus on the date, we focus on our weight, and then when we get there, we plateau. Why? Because goals are external, growth is internal, right? So
wait, I'm just going to stop you. Say that one more time.
Goals are external and growth is internal, right? So when you focus on goals, everything is outside of you. And as soon as you accomplish them, okay, it's outside, but there was no real change in you, okay? You can accomplish a lot of things externally without changing yourself internally. But here's what happens. You may get goals and never grow to a degree. But when you're growing, then you will accomplish all of those goals. But guess what? Your goals will become higher and higher and higher, because like you said at the very beginning, it is a never-ending journey, right? I put it this way, Greg. I say this. Growth is like a highway, and it has a lot of tolls, and you have to consistently pay those tolls. The moment that you no longer want to pay the tolls, you got to get off the highway. And the moment you get off the highway, you stop growing, right? Because you don't want to pay the tolls. So goals is when you get to my goal is to get to the toll. You pay the toll. Guess what? You want to get to the next toll, you got to pay again. So the bigger you become internally, the more goals you will be able to accomplish. So to you that is goal oriented, what I will tell you is this. If you focus on your goals, perhaps some of them you will accomplish, but many of them you will not. But if you focus on growth, you will get better and accomplish your goals along the way. That's what I would say.
I could not have said that any better. Man, this is why you are the master of personal growth. You have a fantastic journey. You know this book. I know you've brought people through this thinking. You've done masterminds with this, and have changed people's lives with your teaching. I know you are very active in the Hispanic community. I see you on Facebook Live all the time. I watch and I have no idea what you're saying, but it's awesome because I can just feel the energy. So it's brilliant.
Thank you.
Misael, I wanted to
we're engaging.
I got to learn, man. I got to learn. I wanted to thank you for taking time out to join us today. And I want to ask, what do you got going on right now with your business? And you just relocated to Texas. So what's going down?
So there's, yes, we just moved. We're in the Dallas area, and there's a couple things going on. So let's start from today, because we got to do it today, right? So consistency today. So today's the very first training of a year-long commitment that I have, in which I'm going to be delivering training twice a month for a congregation here in the Dallas area. On Saturday, I have a conference here in a place called Bedford, Texas, which is about 20 minutes outside Dallas. It's called Leadership Keys. So if anybody watching here in the Dallas area, you want to be there, find it on Facebook. You can look for it on Eventbrite also. It's called Leadership Keys. That's Saturday, 26, 8 o'clock to noontime. We'll be there teaching on that. Right now, I have two masterminds. I have a mastermind on Put Your Dream to the Test. That's in Spanish. And I have a mastermind on the 15 Laws of Growth. That's going on every Thursday. Both masterminds out on Thursdays, starting at 7 p.m. Dallas time. And we go all the way up to 10 p.m., including both masterminds. So that's what's going on. There's some other activities that are in the oven right now that are cooking, but keeping involved. Also, I wanted to mention, because I know you said you looked at my LinkedIn and there's the name of the company there. That is a commitment that I have with a company in India. They're launching here in the US, and I'm doing training, and as a way for me to give them some visual, they put a title on me, and I just attach it there because the company had no presence in the U.S. But I'm in the middle of a contract delivering for them, doing training and those type of things. That's going on right now. So
that's awesome. So if anybody's interested in reaching out to you, if they want to learn more about your mastermind groups and connect with you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yes. So the best way to get hold of me is, first of all, social media, whether Facebook or Instagram. Both of them is the same thing, is at a leadership, right? So if you go to Facebook /a leadership, you can find me. Or if you go to Instagram at a leadership, you can find me also. You can also go to misaeldiaz.com, misaeldiaz.com. That's easy enough. Just my full name. .com. That will take you to my website. I also have a podcast. If you go to advancedleadership.org, advancedleadership.org/podcast, you can register for my podcast. Also, it's in Spanish. I'm working on getting it in English, but it's just the time. It's a lot of things going on in the time, but you got to keep consistent. So I'm taking one thing at a time. But that's how many ways you can find me. And also, I mean, if you connect through Greg, we're friends on Facebook. So you find Greg, you find me.
Yeah. So, Misael, if you'll do me a favor, after this broadcast is over, if you'll go on to the Facebook page where this was live in the Lion's Den and go into the comments and put your links in there, I'd appreciate it. And that way we can get it shared out and people can connect with you.
Absolutely. No problem. For sure.
Oh, man. Okay, so we're going to cut it. We're running up right on the 30 minutes. Misael, you killed it. Thank you so much for supporting me in my journey and delivering this, a different way of talking about these laws of growth. Don't jump off when I sign off, though, because I want to talk to you. But for all of you, thank you so much for watching today. I appreciate your support as well. I'm going to be back here again next week. Of course, same place, same time. I have another colleague who is making her dreams a reality, and she is a trailblazer in the world of experiential learning. Diane Dick of Legacy Training and Development and the founder of By Design Learning Institute is going to be here with me next week from Texas, talking about the law of expansion and how growth increases your capacity.
Fantastic.
So until then, you guys have a great week. Remember, be powerful, but stay poised just like a lion. See ya, everybody.